In a horrific incident, the death toll in a fire accident in Anakapalle in Andhra Pradesh has risen to 17 now. Remember, this explosion took place in a Pharma unit in Anakapalle district. In fact, the district collector Vijaya Krishnan has said that the fire broke out around 2:15 p.m. today at Escientia Advanced Sciences Private Limited at Achutapuram in Anakapalle district. She said, and I quote, "The factory operates with 381 employees in 2 shifts. The blast occurred during lunchtime. Therefore, staff presence was less." This is what Krishnan has told a news agency, adding that the explosion is suspected to be electricity related. As many as 33 injured people were shifted to different hospitals in Anakapalle and Achutapuram, while the fire department is engaged in rescue operations, deploying 6 fire tenders. The Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Chandrababu Naidu, is likely to visit the site tomorrow. He is also monitoring the situation. That's what CMO sources have said. The collector has also said that 17 people are trapped in this, were trapped in this unit and they've been rescued. Meanwhile, Chandrababu Naidu has expressed grief over the loss of lives, and he has assured that the state government will be standing by the families of the workers who died. This is what an official press release has said. I have my colleague Uma Sudhir on the phone line with us. Uma, tell us, what is the update on this case?
The reasons have not yet been established. As of now, the suspicion is that there was some kind of reactor blast, because this happens to be a chemical unit of essentials, and that's a unit that was in fact started just about 5 years ago, and it manufactures pharma products, pharma intermediaries, and also the active pharmaceutical ingredients. And what we are being told is, because there was a lunch break, thankfully there may have been lesser number of people, but even now, even as we talk, there are grieving relatives, some of who are saying that their dear ones are still missing, possibly trapped inside is what is the suspicion. And the worry is that the death toll may go up from the 17 dead that we are reporting as of now, with confirmation from the Chief Minister's office, about 41 injured as well. And as you mentioned, Chandrababu Naidu has said that whoever is needing that kind of a treatment, they can be shifted by air ambulance to Visakhapatnam or to Hyderabad if need be. And he will be visiting tomorrow, and he wants an inquiry to be able to fix responsibility for what really went wrong, because this is perhaps one of the worst industrial disasters that this area has seen. This is a special economic zone for Pharma in Achutapuram in Anakapalle district of Andhra Pradesh, and for something so tragic to happen and of such proportions has shocked the entire state. Back to you.
Tragic incident there in Anakapalle in Andhra Pradesh. Moving on, Surhita Paul, the newly appointed principal of RG Kar Medical College and Hospital, has been removed from her post. Remember, this is the same college where the brutal rape and murder of a 31-year-old junior doctor took place on the 9th of August, an incident which sent shockwaves across the country, leading to protests across the nation. Now, this development comes after a delegation of students met officials at the Swasthya Bhavan. Medical students held up a march from CGO complex, which is where the CBI office is, to Swasthya Bhavan today. Doctors who had protested also demanded the removal of the principal. Meanwhile, Saurav Ganguly also joined the candlelight march in Kolkata along with his wife Rana Ganguly and his daughter Sana. I have my colleague Saurabh Gupta, who has been tracking this case very closely. Saurabh, the new principal also has been sacked. Tell us what led to this.
Well, obviously this comes as a move after the protesting students submitted a demand on these lines in the delegation that met the health ministry officials in Salt Lake this afternoon after the students' protest. Now, this was a massive protest, and of course students have been protesting. RG Kar Medical College students have been protesting. And one of their demands, of course, was safety and security, which they say, that they have very little faith in the administration about. So in that context, they had made this demand as part of their several points of demands that were submitted by a delegation that had marched from the CGO complex, where the CBI office is situated, to the Swasthya Bhavan in Salt Lake, which is where the state health department is administered from. And obviously, this, of course, comes as the state government has been trying to bring the striking doctors back to work and has been accommodative on demands that have been made, including, the state government has announced several measures in terms of policy changes. Rashtriya Shati is a policy they've introduced. And also what they've said is that, they will ensure that, from now on, ex-servicemen, retired policemen, etc., will also be now employed to guard hospitals, as this has become one of the major demands that have, come out of protests that have taken place across the country.
Thank you, Saurabh Gupta, for joining us with those important details. Also, the central government has now notified the National Task for the Safety Protocols for Medical Professionals. This is after the Supreme Court issued directions. In the hearing that happened yesterday, the task force has been asked to prepare an action plan, a detailed action plan on the safety of doctors against violence that they face. Remember, several doctors have complained of assault on them by relatives of patients. The action plan will also include security safety protocols outside ICU where the attacks generally take place. The task force has also asked to put in place a national protocol on ensuring a safe working place for all medical professionals, including nurses and interns. The task force shall formulate effective recommendations to remedy issues of concern pertaining to safety, working conditions and well-being of medical professionals. Remember, 14 persons are part of this. This national task force is going to be led by the Cabinet Secretary. It also has doctors and also counsellors to ensure that there is a holistic action plan that is brought out. Moving on, many people hit the streets in Thane in Maharashtra to protest against sexual assault of two school-going students. Accused's house was vandalized in Badlapur. The police reached at the spot. Meanwhile, the Mahavikas Aghadi has called for a Maharashtra Bandh on the 24th of August to protest against the alleged sexual assault of two kindergarten students, girls, at a school in Badlapur in Thane. MVA allies include Congress, Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena and also NCP, that is led by Sharad Pawar. Meanwhile, the Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has claimed that the massive rail roko protest in Badlapur in Thane was politically motivated. It was aimed at maligning the state government. The government has also issued directives to schools mandating the presence of female attendants and guards, making it compulsory that all staff need to be verified, and proper functioning of CCTV cameras. An FIR has also been lodged against Shiv Sena leader Vaman for using objectionable remarks against a journalist who was covering this incident.
The opposition in Maharashtra has turned up the heat against the state government over the Badlapur sexual assault case. The MV Alliance has called for a statewide bandh on the 24th of August, aiming to target the government over women's safety and the declining law and order in the state. This comes after massive protests erupted on the roads and railway tracks in Badlapur after two 4-year-old girls were allegedly sexually assaulted in their school by a cleaner.
हादसा हुआ है बदलापुर में, पूरे महाराष्ट्र में उस बारे में एक रोष है। लोग भड़क कर बाहर निकले हैं। तो ये निर्णय हुआ है 24 तारीख को 24 हम बदलापुर की जो घटना है उनके खिलाफ महाराष्ट्र बंद का ऐलान करेंगे।
The Congress party staged a protest demanding answers from the state government over the delay in registering the FIR and took a dig at the government's Ladli Behan Yojana and other women and children-centric schemes.
सरकार खुद राजनीति इसमें कर रही है, क्योंकि जिस संस्था में ये घटना हुई है वो आरएसएस और बीजेपी की संस्था है। बीजेपी की और आरएसएस की बदनामी ना हो। जो 12 और 13 तारीख को हुई घटना को जिस तरह से छुपाया गया, उस संस्था ने जिस तरह से सीसीटीवी फुटेज गायब किए और ये प्रकरण को दबाने की कोशिश की गई है।
After citizens protested on Tuesday, the state government formed an SIT and assured the case would be fast-tracked. It also issued directives to schools mandating the presence of female attendants and guards, compulsory staff verification, self-defense programs, and proper functioning of CCTV cameras, among other safety guidelines. As public anger continues to mount, the opposition has seized this opportunity to turn the issue into a political battleground. With the Maharashtra polls just months away, women's safety and law and order are shaping up to be key issues that could put the government on the defensive. With correspondent Anuj Raite, this is Radhika Ramaswamy for NDTV.
Moving on, after 32 years, 6 accused have been handed the life imprisonment sentence by the POCSO court in Ajmer. This is, remember, a sex case that found that there were people blackmailing school students and sexually exploiting them. Around 100 girls were sexually exploited in this case. The scandal involved a series of incidents of gang rape and exploitation of at least 100 school and college-going girls who were aged between 11 and 20. So massive was the scandal that there's also a movie that's based on this. But of course, after 3 decades, finally life imprisonment sentence has been given to 6 accused people. My colleague Harsha has a report on this.
32 years after the scandal rocked Ajmer town, 6 men have finally been given life imprisonment for the rape and blackmail of young school and college-going girls in Ajmer. Of the 6, 1 is absconding. But Nafis Chishti, Salim Chishti, Iqbal Bhati, Sohail Ghani, Syed Zamir Hussain and Naseem alias Tarzan will spend the rest of their life in jail and will also have to pay a penalty of 5 lakh rupees. Why has it taken 32 years to bring the guilty to book in what was one of the most shocking cases of sexual exploitation in the small town of Ajmer? The horror apparently began sometime in 1990, when a young college student was raped and blackmailed with the lure of political advantages. She was then forced to bring some of her friends to this gang, which would often wait outside prestigious schools and colleges of Ajmer town in a van. The men raped these young girls and to silence them took nude photographs. They also expanded their criminal network by blackmailing these girls into luring their friends. Sources say as many as 100 women were sexually exploited and raped like this. But in the court of law, only 16 women testified. And of those, only 2 stuck to their statements until the end of the trial.
हमारे इस प्रकरण में जो पीड़िताएं थी, रिकॉर्डेड हमारे 16 पीड़िताएं जो थी, उन सबके बयान हमने न्यायालय में करवाए हैं और पुलिस के सहयोग से ही ये कार्य हो पाया है. हमारे रिकॉर्ड में जो है वो 16 पीड़िताएं हैं और बाकी की संख्या मैं बता नहीं सकता.
The criminals were influential men with strong political and social connections. Most of them belonged to the Khadam families of the Ajmer Dargah. It is believed that the administration had heard about the scandal but refused to act. It was only when a young crime reporter chanced upon the nude photographs and published them as a proof in a series of articles that the government was forced to take action.
ये तय किया कि क्या हमें ये सारा मामला फोटोग्राफ के साथ छापना चाहिए और उसके बाद ये जब लगातार 3-4 दिन धारा प्रवाह छपा और अजमेर शहर में लोग मुट्ठी तान करके सड़कों पर उतर आए और उसके बाद ये एक प्रेशर डेवलप हो पाया कि कानून व्यवस्था और पुलिस और जिला प्रशासन और सरकार इस बात को लेकर झुकी.
Justice has finally been done in this case. But how many women actually became victims of this racket will perhaps never be known. 6 victims reportedly died by suicide, unable to face the humiliation. Many left Ajmer town with their families. And some perhaps have remained silent, trying to put behind them a saga of exploitation, humiliation, and pure, premeditated evil. In Jaipur, Harsha Kumari Singh, NDTV.
Moving on, leader of opposition and Congress leader Rahul Gandhi along with Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge arrived in Jammu and Kashmir on a 2-day visit to finalize the pre-poll alliance of the party with National Conference. This is ahead of the upcoming assembly elections. Remember, Jammu Kashmir assembly elections are scheduled to take place in 3 phases starting from the 18th of September till the 1st of October. Assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir have not been held since 2014. Remember, there's no elected government in Jammu and Kashmir since 2018. The assembly elections for 90 seats will be held next month, and Rahul Gandhi's visit is to finalize the Congress party's alliance with the National Conference. I have my colleague Nazir joining us with more details on this. Nazir, what is the latest on Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge's visit to J&K, and what can we expect on the alliance front?
Had a dinner at a Srinagar's famous restaurant, and will be staying here for night, and tomorrow they are expected to meet Farooq Abdullah or Umar Abdullah and also hold meeting with the Congress workers and leaders here in Srinagar. The alliance talks between Congress and National Conference are underway even right this time also this is the third round of talks on seat sharing, as both the parties have broadly agreed to have an alliance to contest this election together. And now there are, our sources tell us, they have agreed to, contest most of the seats together as an alliance. They have already been agreed on seat sharing, but some of the seats, there may be a friendly contest because there have been some friction points, the seats where both parties wanted to contest. So both the sides have agreed to have some friendly contest on some seats. Maybe there would be around 20 seats out of 90 seats where both parties can have friendly contest, and the rest of the around 70 seats where both parties will help each other. They would fight it as an alliance. So this is where both the parties are saying that their main aim is to defeat, BJP and form the next government in Jammu and Kashmir.
Time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side. Welcome back. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Poland. Remember, he also proceeds to Ukraine from Poland. Remember, this is a critical diplomatic visit, the first visit of the Prime Minister to Ukraine in the midst of this ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. It's also the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Poland in the last 45 years. Prime Minister Narendra Modi landed in Warsaw this evening. This is part of his first leg of the two-nation visit that he's undertaking. He will also be traveling to Kyiv later. After landing in Warsaw, the Prime Minister met and interacted with members of the Indian community in Poland. He also visited the Jam Sahib of Navanagar Memorial. He's known as the Good Maharaja Memorial. He also paid tributes to the monument at the Battle of Monte Cassino, and the Prime Minister also paid tributes at the Kolhapur Memorial. So that is the Prime Minister arriving at the community event in Warsaw. Remember, this is an important community event. The Prime Minister has this tradition of participating in Indian diaspora community events wherever he goes. So earlier in the day, he was seen interacting with some children as he arrived at a hotel in Poland's Warsaw. He's on a two-day official visit to Poland. After that, he also goes to Ukraine. Remember, this visit of the Prime Minister to Poland also coincides with the 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic ties between Warsaw and New Delhi. Trade and defense deals are on the agenda, even as Prime Minister will have bilateral meetings with the Polish Prime Minister tomorrow. On Friday, of course, the Prime Minister will be in Kyiv, which is the capital of war-hit Ukraine, and that will be the first ever visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Ukraine, which has been in war with Russia since February 2022. The Prime Minister is going to Ukraine at the invitation of the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky. India has been repeatedly taking a non-alignment position with respect to the war. The visuals that you see on your screen are the visuals of the Prime Minister attending a community event in Warsaw in Poland. Remember, there are 25,000 estimated Indians who live in Poland. Of this, 5,000 are students. The Prime Minister's visit to Poland and Ukraine is high on symbolism. There are geopolitical consequences for this, even as trade and defense aspects are expected to be discussed at the highest levels. He's expected to be in Warsaw today and tomorrow, August 21st and 22nd. This is the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister in 45 years after Morarji Desai visited the country in 1979. There are shared cultural ties that will be in focus. Remember, several Maharajas of India are known to have given shelter to people of Poland, which also will be something that the Prime Minister will be talking about. Remember, Poland is considered the gateway to India, to Europe, and there is a lot of potential to expand trade. That's what several Indian officials and Polish officials have said. Defense ties are on the upswing, and that is one of the important focus areas there. India recently posted a defense attaché at the embassy here, and Polish companies are also looking at getting orders and setting up joint ventures in India. And this is also important from the economy point of view. That is the Prime Minister enjoying a traditional Gujarati dance in Poland. This is a function, this is an event by the Indian community that lives in Poland. There are about 25,000 Indians who live in Poland. About 5,000 of them are students who are mostly there to pursue medical studies. The Prime Minister has often talked about the importance of Poland and the kind of assistance India got from Poland when it had to evacuate students from Ukraine. Time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side.